The Wednesday week is sponsored by Michael Constantine Wealth Management. We bet you can't find a financial advisor closer to Hillsborough Stadium.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of Wednesday Week. If you're listening to this on the way to the Portsmouth game, then let's get you in the mood. Let's get you up for it. There's going to be 30,000 plus fans on the way to Hillsborough this weekend, coming from all different corners of the country. I'm pretty sure there's going to be people come further away than I. We are here to celebrate, talk about, and pull apart the enthusiastic, the never in doubt win against Fleetwood Town. Lee Gregory scoring a hat-trick after going 2-1 down, but we're going to make sense of it. I'm going to talk about any other business and the boys. So welcome. With me tonight, I've got Vic, I've got Ash, I've got Simon. Join us probably later on, might be Hollie. We don't know. She's like the Scarlet Pimpernel sometimes, you know what I mean?
She's trying to find somewhere that's not in the way.
She's always in the
I imagine it's a bit tense in her out at the moment talking about football anyway, so she probably does need a bit of an escape, doesn't she?
Am I right in thinking her other half is a Barnsley fan?
Yeah,
she might be able to escape League One, unlike them.
Well, that should be fun. Let's get him on as well. Let's see how pissed off he is with life. But listen, Vic, we started out well. We thought this is going to be a trouncing, didn't we? We thought 5-0 surely after 3-4 minutes.
Oh, honestly. I mean, it could have been, couldn't it? If we could just put those chances away. But you can't say that when you have put 3 of the chances away. Yeah, it was frustrating, wasn't it? It was a stressful evening anyway. I'm obviously going to spare because I've not left the house in 9 days. In fact, my last leaving of the house was the MK Dons match. So it's been a lovely time. So the build up to that was horrendous. And then, yeah, it's just Wycombe match. Simon, thank you.
Do you know what? I forgot we'd not covered it. I wasn't on last week. So I tell you what, shall we start there, Simon? Let's do that.
No, Simon's right. That's what I was saying. I've not left the house since the Wycombe match.
It's a hell of a segue. We've done really well.
Yeah. So we'll bring it back in. So yes, that was very stressful. But let's talk about the Wycombe match first before I died.
Yeah. So there's there we are. Ash, you drove down there, didn't you, pal? You made the trainless journey down there. There we are. Knocking on the door of automatic promotion. Were you pissed off about it? How did you feel? How do you think it went?
You've got to be pissed off, haven't you, Dan? Really? I mean, you travel all that way, and I know it's close to London, but £7 for a fucking pie. It's disgusting, isn't it?
You know what? Out of all the people in the world who I want to see on Ant and Dex win the ads and win would be you, because you'd still be so fucked off, wouldn't you? I didn't want to cruise. I'm seasick.
I'm going on a cruise, you cheeky mare. Pay for that.
Yeah, that's why he's pissed off about that one. He's a free cruise.
Yeah, made the trip down. Good weather, actually, really nice. A good day, apart from the football. Spoiled it. I think, yeah, you go, don't you? Because obviously we still had the chance of automatic, I think, on against Wycombe. So weren't we a bit of I didn't, but all the others went with a bit of enthusiasm and a bit of hope, and obviously a good performance. And I don't think we got any of it, did we? Really? I mean, I don't think Gareth Ainsworth is anyone's a massive fan of him.
I don't know. He wears leather trousers on soccer Saturday.
It reminded me of Fudge so much. I think if Fudge had longer hair, that is Gareth Ainsworth.
If you'd have known me in the 90s when Ash did, I think, there'd have been definite comparisons. Although I still couldn't squeeze my ass into a pair of leather trousers like he does.
No, it was the talcum powder for that leather top that you had, though.
I think it was rubber.
It was listen, latex, I think, actually.
We bought it from a sex shop. It was a whole thing. So,
no, we didn't. You did.
I did.
Yeah.
Do you go on day trips to sex shops, you two?
Yeah. Went to pull some cocktails. We'd never seen one before in our life. 1998.
Biggest one in Europe.
Yeah.
Better than going to Wycombe, weren't it? But no, I mean, it was very disappointing. We turned up, as we always do, in as droves, and the team didn't, not for once, but again, should I say, on an away day. So
now, Simon, there was a fair amount of shots on goal and percentages and all the things. And I do need to warn, if you are a new listener, you are listening to this on the way to Hillsborough, we're going to try and be the only football show that exists right now that doesn't use the term levels. If anybody was listening to what's his face, the guy from Lee Hendry on Soccer Saturday, he seems to say it every 5 minutes. But Si, I mean, was it really that bad? I mean, we gave it a go, didn't we?
I went down as well, drove down, met Ash there. We had a warm drink in the sun. I wore my body warmer, bad choice. Gilet. Well, you know, I'm of the age, a bit older than Dan, and we both use body warmer, don't we, Dan? Because it's what us guys do.
I love a body warmer. My body is all warm and toasty.
And I'd forgotten, going off the beaten track, that the ground was actually nestled between two mountains, and we actually parked up on one of them, and I think Ash was probably parked about 3 cars behind without us actually knowing. And walking to the ground was fine, but walking back was Edmund Hillary came past us. That was the guy who went up Everest, if anybody would know. Anyway, I thought we set up wrong. I thought the players set up wrong. It's just this constant shoehorning and trying to get Mendes Lang into the side, which you know, we rested Hunt, you know, we rested players, and this shoehorning and trying to get Mendes Lang into the side, which the games where it has done that, it's obvious that it hasn't worked, and then the shithousery from Wycombe, and on top of that, the incompetence from the referee just ended up being, you know, just a real pissed all over a day out. It really did. And
it left me in a bit of a foul mood, I must admit. I had the right mug on.
Me too, mate. And then travelling back up the M40 and all that way home, you know, you fester on it, and you've got your 13-year-old son sat by the side of you being really sociable with his AirPods in, not talking a word to you. You fester on it even more.
Does anyone know what the official explanation was for the disallowed goal?
We haven't had one.
No.
I think what the referee was implying. So I've watched it back a million times, and I genuinely
impeding the keeper. Is that what it?
No, I think they said that Dunkley had pulled him down with him on top of him. Do you know what I mean? That's what, because it was Dunkley put it in.
Dunkley was on top of the defender. The defender was behind him,
and he's kind of wrestled around the front of him. And I think what the referee had said was that Dunkley had pulled him down with him, so they gave it a foul the other way. That is a ballsy decision, if I'm honest. And I must admit, maybe I've got my my blue and white striped spectacles on, but
I just thought it was with the keeper protesting as much as he did, and all Luongo did was just stood his ground, and that was it, because there was no foul. Dunkley did not foul the centre half at all.
The referee made some shocking decisions. There was a couple of times on one wing, I think it was Mendes Lang got away from his player, and a guy came in. It was like the booking last night. I can't remember. I think it was Mendes Lang again, and the guy got booked, and it was like, could it have been a red? That happened twice on the left wing and the right wing at Wycombe. Didn't even card him yet. I think Dunkley had a tackle, didn't he?
Yeah, Dunkley
got a straight yellow. It was the first tackle he made, and he got a yellow for it. And then there was definitely a call for penalty in the second half in front of us, where the guy handballed it, and it was just horrible. They were horrible. Ainsworth was stood on the touchline, getting in the way of throw-ins, and I think the team selection we got it wrong, because we're trying to shoehorn people into the side, which wasn't working. And Bannon had his best game at Milton Keynes Dons, and since then he's been misfiring. I wouldn't say he's been poor, but he has been misfiring. And
well, let's pull up the starting lineup there, Vic. So we've got Deli Bashiro came in the prior game to Wycombe, and I thought he played very well. You know what I mean? I thought he'd earned a place, he'd earned to start. And when you're alongside Bannon and Luongo, unfortunately for George Byers, you're the one that's going to be the make weight. And I thought he was one of the better players last night at Fleetwood, which we'll get to. But the this constant change in a team is something that Moore comes under fire for quite a significant amount. And like, do you feel like we should have just gone back to our normal midfield, or do you think that would have been harsh on FDB, or should we go, sorry, pal, this is professional football, suck it up?
Yeah, the latter. I think, there is too much chopping and changing. Obviously, it's difficult to be negative after last night, which we're going to get to. But yeah, for me, I can't understand how we've gone for the last few weeks being known as having the best midfield in this division, the best midfield three, give or take Barry Bannon compared to what you think on the podcast. But give or take those, they are the best three in the division. And then to go and just completely change that and to rest people, I just couldn't understand that at all. And don't get me wrong, if it had worked, it'd have been a tactical genius, but it didn't. It did feel like we were shoehorning people in. I think, Deli Bashiru, did all right before, but that, one swallow doth not make a summer. And I don't feel like it needed to change the entire system of how we've been playing just because he'd had a decent game the game before. Because, like we've said it a million times, we've got a spine of a team. We've got, you look at, you'd probably say Story and Hutchinson as your key sort of defenders, and then those three in midfield, and then Gregory up front, and everyone else just kind of fits in. Oh, Peacock Farrell. Everyone else just kind of fits in. And I think to swap that out just seemed ludicrous, absolutely ludicrous. And it didn't work. I
would add Hunt to that as well. I think Hunt has been a thing, and he didn't play. Yes, So no, I know you said spine, but I mean, I'd put down like them 5-6 players are you're starting 5-6 players, aren't you?
And resting Hunt was obscene. That was just offensive.
And playing people, we had a discussion on our WhatsApp group, didn't we? And I got back from the game, and I'm glad Hollie's just joined us now. But playing Hutch on the left-hand side of the back three doesn't work for me. If he obviously played Dunkley in the centre because of their physicality up front. Well, don't play Hutch then. Hutch didn't play in the game before. Play Palmer in that position. Palmer's made that position his own, and he's been more than capable. And I don't think he's put a foot wrong in that position. But we dropped Palmer from the Crew game and brought Hutch in, and the ball that came in for their goal came in down that wing.
That was to shoehorn in Dunkley, wasn't it?
Yeah. But you could have kept Dunkley played against Crewe. He could have stayed there in that position in central midfield. You don't bring Hutch in, and you leave Palmer in that position.
I tell you what, that's a bold statement. That can you imagine the meltdown on Twitter?
He didn't play. He hadn't played the last couple of games though, Dan. So.
I know what you mean, but as soon as somebody comes available, as soon as Harley Dean, if he's available for this weekend and don't play, there's always going to be a meltdown. And I feel that, that's sometimes what Darren Moore has to fight against in terms of the online Twitterati is you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. You know what I mean? If we'd have dropped FDB for the Wycombe game, the meltdown would have been bloody hellfire. I can't believe he's bloody dropped him. What I mean? It's just what happens. Now, joining us tonight, we've got Hollie, the Scarlet Pimpernel herself. Hollie, we're talking about the Wycombe game. We were talking about the chopping and changing of the squad. So as the guys rightly say, so you've got the midfield three, the centre back three, the goalkeeper, and Gregory, and then everybody else just kind of fits in a side. And maybe even not the centre back three. I mean, we've got a good 5-6 players we can choose from for those positions. God rest Kieran Brennan in his soul. You know what I mean? Where's he gone? But I mean, what did you make of it, Hollie? I mean, did you think it were a foul?
I wasn't at Wycombe because I couldn't get a ticket. But I was thinking about when they keep changing the squad all the time. When we bring subs on and then the subs are waiting 5 or 10 minutes to come on at the side, does it unsettle everyone who's on the pitch because nobody knows who's coming off? Like if you've got a striker on the bench and there's a striker on the pitch, they know they're going to be swapped. But if it's by Darren Moore's logic, anyone can play anywhere at random. He's not even going to tell them where they're playing. Does it unsettle everyone who's on there?
Every time.
Well,
is everyone start thinking, is it me?
That's an excellent point, because in the Wycombe game, he brought Shadipo on, and we thought, well, it'd be for Mendes Lang, and Mendes Lang stayed on, and Shadipo at one point, I think, was playing up front, was he, Ash? And And,
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he came
and
on
then the
played up
midfield,
front, yeah.
honestly, there was a point where the midfield were all looking at each other going, what the fuck are we doing now? Who's playing where?
It
What's
was
going
about
on?
9-10 minutes, wasn't it? So Shadipo came on for Berahino, and then CP Patterson came on for Delabashiro, and that's when they finally swapped it round. But it was an odd one, that one. Or did he want to play 6 across the midfield? I don't know. And Hollie's right. Like if you're on the pitch and then Moro goes, Mendes Lang, come here, and he stood here, he's got his arm round him, ready to go. Anybody could be getting ragged off that pitch.
And also as well, what was the last game that Shadipo played in? When did he last play?
I don't know. Snickers were opal fruits as far as I was understanding. But
I've got a question, if that's all right, or
amusing.
Yeah, I think so. Right. So Darren Moore.
Did you mean that on purpose? Because that really made me laugh, Ash.
I don't know.
You just made a randomly laugh, Ash. Go on, son. Let's hear your ponderings.
No. So Darren Moore changed the starting 11 because he perceived to play against Wycombe. Now, why does Moore do that? He's done it quite a few times when we've slipped up. He's changed his team and his way of playing to suit the opposition, instead of going, I'm the bollocks, I know what I'm doing, I trust my players, I'm going to play how I want to play, because it's took me half a season to get the team and the way and the formation. So
I don't know if it is that, though. I don't know if it's that he thinks they're going to know what he's going to do, so he's trying to confuse everyone.
The old double bluff.
The double bluff.
Know what he's going to do.
He got foul up front.
Do you know what I mean? Like, instead of like,
he don't even write it on whiteboard in case the players know what's going on.
Do you know what I mean? It's like if he knows, or if he's confident in how he's managing and he's coaching and his players, then he should think, I'm picking 11 players that are going to play to the way I think, and the way I think is the right way of playing football, and it will get us the 3 points, and we'll play in a style that we'll get the 3 points, and it looks good, and we score loads of goals. But I think on the games where my memory's shit, but the games where I think we've struggled, i.e. Gillingham as well, he changed it to, because they perceive them to be
an easier
rough
target.
arses, a bit strength, a bit physical, and it didn't work. And Wycombe again. So I on the times that we have played to how we play, like Milton Keynes, I know he had to enforce changes, weren't he, with Luongo and Hutchinson, but I think he played how I think he wanted to play, and it got the result eventually.
It was 5p, 50p that last 20 minutes, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that's So I don't know. I know people saying, how can people say more out, and that I'm not in, I'm not out, and anything. But I can see a confident manager who's got confidence in his team and the way that they play. I don't think should change. If you understand, and I've done a side ramble there, but
no, what you're saying is we should go out without dick swinging. We should go out and go, we're the best team in this league. And if you come at us, bro.
Yeah, if you believe that, and you believe you've got, and we all believe that we've got the best squad, I think, in the league, and the best midfield. But we'll come on to it. But I thought, like, the first half, our midfield against Fleetwood got outplayed. I think
they got shit house. But I tell you what, let's get onto it. So the Wycombe game ended our faint hopes of automatic promotion, which I must admit was a bitter pill to swallow, because given the last time that we were in the playoffs, I don't want them. You know what I mean? But however, it's now going to be something that we go, okay, we're going to have to take the playoffs, and we got a few days out and all the rest of it.
Hopefully.
Well, you know, who's going to beat us at Hillsborough? We'll get to the predictions anyway. Who's going to beat us at Hillsborough?
Oxford,
30,000 people there. Any road. George Hurst is a big concern of mine. So let's get on to Fleetwood. Now, the first half for me, we stunk the house out, and for me, there was a few players that you saw on social media that were getting pelters. Like, I thought that Bailey Peacock-Farrell could have done better for the goal. I think Story got caught short, or even though he, I don't think he was really expecting it because again, BPF gave it to him, and then there's an element there. What, you kidding me? Are you on a wind up or what? Like, you know what I mean? Now, the first half, but I also thought that Palmer, and I'm sorry, Sir Stevie, I know you're not here to stick up for him, but I thought that Palmer turned into trouble every time he got the ball. His confidence just seemed to be off. I think he's been a better player this season. Don't get me wrong, and this is not me slagging him off like every other Wednesday fan does. But I just thought that last night there was a good few opportunities last night where he'd get the ball, take a touch, then take another. In fact, his first touch after about 14 seconds, he got clattered and he was down on his backside because he took too many touches and his confidence was on its ass. I mean, was there any other player, Simon, that you thought, I'll tell you what, this guy's stinking the joint up?
I thought we fell into a trap of getting frustrated and players were, and I think that's where their equaliser came from. It wasn't quite, after the goal, was it 3 minutes when we scored? I think the players sort of thought that, well, this is going to be easy. But Fleetwood, bless them, they're fighting to stay up. So they came back at us. And I think that's what led to the goal. It was just poor judgment. And then after that, they really got frustrated. And I don't want to pick on Barry because he's supposed to be our leading light, but he spent too much time shouting and getting frustrated, which I think affects his mental judgment in regards to how he plays, etc.
I think it affects the team's mental judgment. I mean, Paul Joe Wilson his confidence on his ass, isn't it? You know what I mean?
And that then went across the board. It just sent to affect changing the side again. He played Pato, and I didn't see what Pato added to that side at all.
I think it comes back to Ash's point, actually, Si, with that one. Sorry to chime in, but I think that we were expecting a big shit kicky game, so we put a big shit kicker on. And
but I'm completely in the house that you are, Dan, in regards to we play our football. We have to play our style of football, and our style of football would have, Berahino up front would have torn them to pieces. They're a team that have got no confidence. Was it 16, 17 games they haven't won?
Won in 19, I think.
One in 19, and then
not won at home since January.
Getting their heads around the fact that we best watch out for this guy or that guy. Let's just play to our strengths. And so Bannon, I think all the team really misfired. I don't think anybody came out of that until Gregory turned up in the second half.
I think Hutchinson had a solid start, I must admit. But Vic, what about yourself? Are there any players there in that first half specifically that made you think, dear Lord, man, what are we doing? Where did they get off? Did they leave them?
I agree with what Si said about Barry Bannon. I think it was something that Moore actually seemed to get quite well under control at the start of this season. When, there were a few times when he was captain before that we all said, oof, he's a bit too fiery to be captain. And I think Moore had got something in him. I don't know whether it's, credit to Bannon as well, that he's grown up a little bit and he's started to understand the game a bit more and he's working as a leader. But yeah, there was a bit of that old Bannon that came out of shouting at people, screaming at people. And I get it.
He wants to win.
And it must be frustrating to be... He knows what Barry's expecting in his head when he passes the ball. He doesn't he expects Lee Gregory to flick it over his shoulder and bop it on the nose and then pass it with his left foot. But Lee Gregory might not know that. I think that's what he's not understanding a lot of the time. And he does kick off at people. I think Patterson, like we said, he was brought on to be a shit kicker. I think he did all right. I don't think he pulled up any trees, but I don't think he caused any of the situations that we got into. I think Peacock Farrell, again, another clanger. Like Jordan Story, that's his first mistake he's made for us, isn't it? Can't we just, we let him off for that?
I don't know. Did he not get done at Milton Keynes, though, didn't he? He got sent for a pasty, didn't he, when they scored on the near post on that one?
Yeah, he did, actually.
Cutting on the inside of him. But I think he was covering because Jack Hunt was about 30 yards offside. But I get what you mean, Vic.
Yeah, it's not a regular occurrence. And I think he is one of these players that I think we'll see him play at a very high level at some point. Probably not with us or Preston, but I imagine he will be playing somewhere high up at some point. But I mean, I've just been looking at the stats and stuff as well, because obviously Stevie's not here and he's not in the bath. But when you look at the possession, we had 71% possession. We had 21 shots to their 5. 6 of which were on target to their 2. Only 8 corners, which I actually felt like there were a lot more corners last night. And Barry Bannon should not be taking corners. He's given up the penalties. That's gone great. The odd Barry Bannon corner is fine, but I think there are other people who can take a corner better. Jack Hunt being one of them. You know, if
I'd
Hunt's
rather Bannon being stood on the edge of the D, ready to rifle one in from 25 yards. I must admit, I think he's probably there for that. What about you, Smash? Sorry.
Excuse me. I think he's also one of those people that should be in the 6-yard box causing an argument. He could be the one that's riling people up, that could win us a penalty, that could get shoved over, that could get his shirt tugged. I think he's the kind of player.
All he needs is to get leaned on, doesn't he? And you're right,
Exactly.
he could be on his ass. Yeah, you're dead right. What about you, Smash? That first half, Fleetwood. Have I done you?
Well,
how much were the pies at Fleetwood?
I don't know, because it's the very rare occasion I didn't go.
Oh, you didn't, did you? Sorry, man.
No, it was the other
it was Hollie that went. I've made the wrong notes.
Podcast went. Yeah. It just, yes, the goal after 3 minutes and 26 seconds or whatever it was. It set us up for thinking that why we were so nervous, or if you were nervous, and it was calmed you down a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's we've seen it far too often this season. It's a bit of a hash up at the back for the first. Peacock Farrell, but short, sold story a bit short or a bit unexpected, but that's what they've been doing. They've been playing out the back for 99% of the time. So Story should expect it. He knows what's coming. And I forgive him for that, because I think he has been probably one of the better signings this season. Very much so. Preston have got a really good young centre half. I think he's played about 80 odd games for him already. So
it's a bit of a coup getting him. To be fair,
yeah, very much so. And again, the 19th goal we've conceded from a set piece this season. So mint that, isn't it? So from a manager who's not a big centre half or could know his defenders, is coaching our defence really, really well. So
maybe that's it, though. Maybe that's it. I know I'd struggle because, like, you know, I'm a defender. I do defending things, and I'm a big old lad, and I'll go, well, just edit then. Why aren't you? I don't understand why you're not editing it, forgetting that, you know, I'm a foot bigger than everybody on the pitch. You know what I mean?
Last night as well.
Sorry. I said, it was just the midfield. I thought, to say that we've got the best 3 midfielders in the league perceived, their midfield for the first half really, really didn't let them play. The pitch didn't help, but then again, the pitch is the same for all 22 players.
Got the set. Did Molly May write that speech for you, mate? Did you?
I think as well, just to pick up on what Ash was saying about defenders. I said this last night to you guys, but we must have one of the tallest defences in the league as well, and we cannot seem to defend anything in the air from a set piece. Apparently, I heard earlier on some other podcast live thing that those 19 set pieces include throw-ins, which it can't be. Surely it doesn't include throw-ins.
Is Rory Delap still playing? Is that sort of thing?
But I mean, otherwise, we should be defending those. Like you said, we've got Darren Moore. You know, we've all seen Darren Moore as a player. We all remember him as a player. You know, he's not your David Beckham. He's not your whatever his name is at Derby County. But he's a player that you remember seeing play. And he was a no-nonsense defender. And we've got a back 3, 2, 5, whatever he wants, who can't defend a corner. Despite, I think Hutchinson's probably the shortest, and he's 6 foot something.
Yeah, and I must admit, Hutchinson's quite classy. You see that as well, because he was a midfielder. He loves to play the ball, and I quite like it. Okay, Hollie, I've left you till last on purpose. I want you to tell me about your day out. You know, tell me about the first half, what you're all talking about in that tiny little slip of the ground that they gave us, and all the rest of it.
So I actually thought we were quite good in that first 15 minutes. Like they didn't really get it out of their box for most of it. We had quite a lot of chances, but we seemed to want to play little passes, but it was impossible on the pitch. And then we didn't get wise to it all. We just kept trying to do it. And then they just thought, oh, they're going to keep doing that, and then just cutting it out. I mean, how many times did they cut it out? It was just ridiculous.
Definition of madness, isn't it?
But I actually thought Bannon and Palmer did all right, because where we were sat, they were coming down towards us in the first half. And Marvin were just, I don't know what, I mean, he's due one because I think he's been awesome. But he was absolutely plop for that first half. Well, for the whole time he was on. And Bannon was coming across. Bannon was coming across to cover him. And Palmer eventually, because he wasn't showing football, eventually just had to take it on himself, which is probably why he was taking more touches than necessary. And then they didn't really, like, Marvin were just, I don't know. And then Story was not on it, but like Simon was saying about whoever's on the end of that back three, Story was on the end of the back three at the start and he was crap. And then they swapped it, and then Hutchinson went crap towards end when they swapped it and put Story in the middle. So clearly we've got, nobody can play on the end, can they? I don't know. I mean, maybe Gibson were on bench thinking, what's going on here?
I forgot we still had him. Who's the other lad that I forgot? I've got Kieran Brennan, and is it Brown?
Jaden Brown, yeah. But
Is he still playing?
Nah, he's never played, mate. You just forget him.
The most I've seen him, he went to Wembley. He went to Wembley for Pizza Cup final. That's the first time I've even seen he's alive. Sat cheering on Rotherham.
Last time
Don't say that. He'll bring him on next game.
Last time I saw him is when he passed the ball into back at net against Hartlepool in Pizza Cup.
Sick. All right. So first half went to bits. I must admit, fair play to Lee Gregory. Again, the first goal for me was the best one. What a proper striker's goal. He's got him behind and he's finished it really well, and he's done exactly what a good striker does. I saw online that somebody likened him to the best striker we've had since Gary Hooper. I think they are definite big talismanic players that we have in this club. When Hooper was here, of course, but the way they play is so different. Hooper was so clever in terms of his movement, whereas Gregory really uses his big, bulging, gorgeous muscles and his body so beautifully well. He's an absolute Adonis, and I might be gay for Lee Gregory. But let's get into the second half.
Whoa, Dan, sorry, I can't see your face. There's just some splattering of white stuff over your camera.
Never you mind. Never you mind. So, right. So the second half came. Now, we've...
no pun.
We spoke a lot about this second, about half time, and I've definitely spoke a lot about, does Darren Moore get them going? Does he rile them up in the changing room? Does he get them out? And I use the term snarling beasts. Does he get them onto that pitch ready to have an absolute tear up? Did you find, Simon, that when they came on that there was a definite change in tempo?
I wish you'd not asked me that. I don't know. We sat and watched it here, and it didn't strike me as getting at them. We were trying to do very much like Hollie said in the first half. We were trying to play that nice football that we like to play on a nice pitch, and we've got very cultured. We've got very good players, but the pitch didn't lend itself to that. And Darren Moore said that he'd given them a bollocking at halftime. I've read today, but they didn't feel to me that they came out flying at them all guns blazing, to be honest.
I think there was a couple of players. So Bannon definitely had a rocket.
Bannon had a better second half. I thought Luongo had a lot better second half. I agree. I forgot to mention Johnson. Johnson had a nightmare game, but I don't remember him being so great at Wycombe either, to be honest.
Nobody was great at Wycombe.
No, they weren't, mate. You're right. It's true. But obviously, the shining light was Lee Gregory in the second half, and to me, the get out of jail card that we had yesterday was Lee Gregory.
See, that's an interesting point. This is the one I wanted to discuss as soon as the final whistle came in. So Ash, do you feel that we reap the benefits of playing good, solid football and not losing our head, or do you feel like, had it not been for Lee Gregory, we'd have lost that?
Well, he scored the 3 goals, so if he wasn't there, ergo, we wouldn't have scored 3 goals and lost.
No, we'd have had another striker on the pitch, and he might have got a couple of goals. Do you know what I mean?
No. I got to say that first for me, I think the shining light was the halftime Twitterati. I've got to say, the 30-odd million Owl supporters that became judge and jury of Darren Moore and the starting 11 was great. I love Twitter. Twitter's the best thing.
Meltdown.
Twitter is the best thing. I don't care what you say. It is. I love it. It's my entertainment.
Elon. Bloody hell.
Yeah. I've got a couple of 44 billion in my back pocket. Yeah, I'm going to buy it. But yeah, I've got to say, because obviously the halftime whistle went 2-1 down, straight on Twitter. It's great. It was brilliant. And there were some people that had lost the proper head popped off, and there were some people that said no, still believe, still trust in it. And I don't know what they saw in the first half to believe that. But then, came out second half. I agree with Simon. I think it was Gregory in his post-match interview said that Darren Moore had given him a bit of a rocket at half time. I didn't see it from the initial first 10, 15 minutes. I didn't see that anyone came out after and thought, right, yeah, he's given us a belter. Let's put it about. But it had an effect because they came out. Gregory scored 2 great goals. There were great goals. I know. Luongo stood it up in the middle for him to nod it in, and then straight from the kickoff, they've had a mare and the pressure. And fair play to Patterson. If you watch it, he creates the space for him with his movement, and that's not something you've said much this season about Patterson. He was thinking about getting space or creating space for Gregory to run into, and like I said, bottom corner, keeper, no chance really. It was really in the corner, and they always say that you're very susceptible, aren't you? As soon as you've conceded, your head's not all over. It's all over the place. So it's a great time to score, and I think the way they were playing, I'm not so sure. We've had it before. I'm not so sure we'd have probably got the third, or it would have been a lot more squeaky bum time, But I think once we got the third, that they were done. I think Fleetwood, they were proper deflated. If we hadn't had Gregory, I don't think we'd have got the win. To be honest, I know I was taking the piss earlier, Dan, but no, I don't. I think the way his movement, the way he played, he was just on it, and he deserved the hat trick as well for the last couple of months overall play that he's played.
I don't remember any of the players having shots saved or coming near to be honest.
We only had 6 shots on target.
We hit the woodwork about 3 times in a minute, didn't we? Oh, that wasn't first half, though.
First half, when we were on top. I mean, how many corners did we have? The corners.
8.
Corners.
Imagine that step out earlier, Simon.
I know, but you can't convert 1 of 8. It's just
the teams we play can, obviously.
Well, yeah.
So many.
Yeah.
That's probably where it's going wrong. We're probably practicing against our own back 3/5.
We're sending the lads up.
Shitloads of corners. I was doing my heart rate fudge at the time, so I've not liked to mention it, but I've got COVID. I don't like to go on about it. But I've been. No, I know. I don't like to mention. I don't like to send you my updated lateral flow test every day or whatever. But no, I was doing my heart rate because my doctor. I have to do my oxygen levels and that every night. And when I'm sat watching like normal telly, you're talking like 52. I'm fat. I'm old. 52. Then when I'm watching football, it tends to be about 65. If it's Wednesday, maybe you push to 70. And then last night, literally that minute, my heart rate went from 70 to 106 within seconds. I couldn't breathe, honestly. Even now talking about it, I'm getting palpitations. I thought I was going to die. And I thought, is this it? Is this it?
Wednesday till I die?
Exactly. Am I going to be found eaten by dog this time next week? Because nobody can come in.
No.
So someone's going to come and find me with a Peroni Zero, conked out on the floor, just moaning about Lee Gregory.
Half eaten by dog.
But I mean, that could happen at any point. So.
It could happen at any point. Actually, my mum did say that once. She said to me, how come you haven't set your rent up as a direct debit? I said, because it's the only way someone's going to know who's got keys to this house that I've died. You know what I mean? But anyway, let's Hollie, let's come to you because, we're talking about the second half and we're talking about the feeling. Now you were there. Was it palpable? Was it something? Did you, after we scored the third, did you feel like they were still
It was
potentially
horrible. It was horrible. There was times where you could hear a pin drop in both sets of fans because they wanted it so much, and then you could feel how disappointed they were after that Gregory minute. It would just, but
Hey, you want to talk about horrible, Ollie? Lee Gregory had already scored 2 goals before the hooky feed that me and Ash were watching had scored the first one. But we're not going to talk about that. It's like Bruno. We just don't talk about it.
Well, what minute were the goals scored on? I can't remember.
73, 74.
There was 45 seconds between them.
So that was after he'd made the substitutes then. So maybe Darren Moore's a genius.
Well, this is what I wanted to pull at here, Simon. So we spoke a lot about Darren Moore on this show and about whether he's good enough and about all the like and all the song and dance. Fair play to him. He made 2 changes. We shoehorned Mendes-Lang in, like you mentioned at the start of the show, and it's paid off. Now, the shoehorning of Mendes-Lang, do we use him as an Edin Dzeko super sub type of player, or did we just use it right? Because I remember Windass sent one skyward when he came on, but the football leading up to it was tight little intricate passing that ended up at Windass's feet. I don't know if you remember. Did we witness a Darren Moore masterclass?
Did it create a goal? Did we score from it?
What? The 2 subs?
Yeah. What was it? It was Dunkley, wasn't it?
No, Dunkley came on at end. Johnson went off, didn't he?
So did we bring on?
So Mendes-Lang came on for Byers and Windass came on for Johnson, and then we scored.
Yeah, so Johnson was having a pretty diabolical game anyway, so we had to change that to bring somebody on who could probably inject some pace and also some quality into it. So that's when NML came in. Windass, he had that shot, didn't he? But I couldn't work out. I don't think we actually could work out where he was playing.
No.
I didn't see. I actually saw. I thought in the last 5-10 minutes we got backs against the wall again. I thought we got into the bewitching hour of 10 minutes where it's like
maybe that's just your Sheffield Wednesday head, Simon. Did you feel that?
Yeah, but it's been like that. The Milton Keynes Dons game, it was like that. The Crew game was like that. The Wycombe one wasn't really. We were trying to put pressure on them, and it felt like that last night. The team's playing pressure, and I think that's why I brought Dunkley on, just to basically try and he won every header that came.
He was awesome. He was so good.
And if he just basically sticks to hoofing it out and heading it, his game is perfect. And that probably was the masterstroke, was more Dunkley than Windass and Mendes-Lang coming on. He had to change it on the left because Johnson was having a mare. So whoever he brought on, he was. So he had to bring some quality on, and Mendes-Lang brought that in.
So are we attributing that win to Darren Moore changing it up, realising it wasn't working, or are you still Mardy that he started with the team he did?
But you've got to be Mardy for his starting lineup. We've covered that. But he had to change it obviously because we needed the win. He did it at Doncaster, didn't he? But took both strikers off, brought the other 2 on. They both scored. Berahino and
they were both glaring obvious changes, weren't they? They were massive. I mean, at the Doncaster game, the 2 strikers, Canberra and Sal, weren't working. So anybody could see that wasn't working, and he got a perfect replacement on the bench. So it was like for like, and the 2 players were better quality. The same as yesterday, you know.
He nearly brought Berra on. Berra were stripped off, ready to come on. And then Gregory scored the 2 goals, and then he brought Dunkley on. So that worked because Dunkley was really good, and changing the strikers at that point instead of the defence might have been a bad idea. I don't know. But I always thought we'd score 2 goals, but I didn't know if we'd score 3 goals. And we did. Hutchinson had a dodgy 5 minutes where he was already on the booking, and then he was just, I don't know, really, riding him around like donkeys on the seafront for a bit, giving away fouls here, there, and everywhere. For some reason, Dunkley came on, and then for some reason, Hutchinson started going front for some unknown reason, went all over place, which is probably best to keep him away from giving a penalty away at that point when his head had gone. Then Bannon had an argument with him, and he went straight down tunnel at end of game. So I don't know what that were all about. But...
Oh, bit of handbags. Love that. Love that.
I don't think Moore got it wrong from the start. I questioned the Pato, but I think the side was the right side to play. I just think that the team didn't turn up.
Well, as a result, we got the 3 points to put us in a convincing place to look at playoffs for the forthcoming final fixture against Portsmouth. Who Vic? We have the son of a legend who has gone on record today saying it adds a little added incentive to scupper Sheffield Wednesday's playoff/promotion hopes in Georgehurst.
What a tosser!
What's
Like,
mine?
do you know what?
What a
I don't think we
tosser!
should talk about
I've asked for a massive pay rise. They're not going to give it, mate. So I've thrown my dummy out and I've fucked up. How he can say?
My dad's
how he
still
can
not
say
sold his
anything.
house on 21 Lane.
How he can say anything? So I don't think we even give him the air on this podcast.
His contract's
You're
up at less.
not meant to be. This is my bit. He's just said my name.
I was going to
Sorry,
say
Vic.
that's fucking hell.
Honestly.
Vic,
His
talk about
contract's
it
up,
first before these
so-
middle-aged white men chirps in anymore. Come on.
It's like, go on then, Vic, what do you think? Well, I think, no, I agree. I don't think he deserves
There
the
you go.
time
Move
of
on.
day. Podcast 2. I don't think he deserves the time of day. I think, there's going to be 30-odd thousand of us there, and I think there's 11 men that need that 30-odd thousand people support and not one dickhead. And I think if you just don't even acknowledge him, he's a nobody. It's like that. What's that centre half called that hates us? He played at Charlton for a while. Bloody hell.
Us. Who
He
can hate us?
hates us with
Who
a
hates
passion.
us?
He played for us like on loan years ago.
Is
he
it
has-
Morrison?
Yes, that's it. Is it Michael Morrison?
Michael Morrison.
Yes, hates us with a passion. Wouldn't know him if he shat on my face. Would not know him. So let's just treat Georgehurst like that.
I have a signed shirt from Michael Morrison. He played away at Southampton. He was the only one that would sign my shirt. I asked Jermaine Johnson to do it. He said, "No, man." So
worth
it's
£0.
obvious that Ash and Simon's thoughts on it, Hollie. So I think they're in the same camp as essentially Vic. Let's not acknowledge him, but he did score a brace against top of the league Wigan last night. There must be a level of concern, regardless of his surname and his parentage. There's got to be a concern that they've got an informed striker there, right?
Can we not just do a fudge and go, nah, fuck it.
No,
Nah,
fuck it.
shit.
Nah,
All right,
fuck it.
but they are then. Georgehurst, fuck him. But I think there's more to it than that. I mean, let's be fair that David Hurst spends more of his time around at Rotherham now. We've had a fallout. He's had a fallout with Chansiri. He's had a fallout with the people at the club and all the rest of it. Which there's always a bit of an air there when the club peddle out legends and we do these dinners and stuff like that. You know that he don't want to do that. And then there was a point where it was around the time when David Hurst shaved a mohawk in. I don't know if anybody remembers that. That was a thing. But there we are. So we've got Portsmouth. We've got over 30-odd thousand. We've got Lower Leppings Lane end open. Ash, that's got to be like an extra player on the pitch. We're talking 3-0 Arsenal game in the Cup a few years ago, aren't we?
Yeah, it's gonna be good, isn't it? I think it's what they deserve. The team actually, they've done not too bad, have they? They're in the playoffs, hopefully by the end of the match. So 30-odd thousand there to see him on maybe the last home game of the season. Doubt it now, but I don't. I know there's been quite a bit on Twitter because that's all I do. I spend most of my time just trolling through Twitter about some people don't like the fact that the fair weather or the last game people come out and buy the tickets. But why not? I'd rather have 30-odd thousand there than 18, 19. There's far too many people say that there's only 18,000. Where is everyone on a cold Tuesday night? But if people
they're still wanting tickets because we're in shitty League One.
Yeah. And if people have to pick and choose the games to go to for work, money, family, whatever reason, that you can only get to a couple of games, then why not the last home game when it's a great chance to cement playoffs?
I'm the same as you, Ash. I think there's an element there of, the team need us to turn out, and we've turned out. Like, this thing that people have where there's a criteria that people have to hit in order to be a fan can get in the bin. I mean, Hollie, you've got a family, all right? They support the wrong side of Yorkshire and all the rest of it. But if you were to take your family to a football game, we're talking 200 quid day out, aren't we?
They give tickets away at Barnsley for free, I think, but especially at the moment. But yeah, my problem with it is that football fans are the best and the worst thing ever. So if Wednesday are getting pummeled. Even if we're not losing, it's going to be the worst atmosphere ever. We're just going to have more people moaning. Would you want to play in the middle of that? I mean, when we're up, we're really up. But when we're down, oh my God. I already feel sick talking about it. Don't ask me.
I'm glad we've got you on. You know what I mean? Now, that's like, come on. How do you think this game's going to go? Do you reckon it's going to be an absolute spanking, or do you reckon we're going to turn up and it's going to be a nail-biting scenario with a informed striker kicking the ball in who really wants to salivate and finally to score at Hillsborough?
We're not talking about that person.
Sorry, Bruno's up front.
I think it will be a nervously touchy affair, but I'm saying that. No, I think it will be. We'll go into it as fans, nervous and tetchy. I think Wednesday might actually surprise us here, and they'll go out and be comfortable winners. I think when they turn out, we've got a great home form, haven't we? We've only lost 2 at home, so
yep.
One's against Rotherham, one against Oxford. Two teams pushing there, and the Rotherham game, they had 2 shots on goal. And we battered them, and it wasn't for the fact that we didn't have proper decent strikers up front, we would have won that game. So, look, the pitch is looking a lot better. We can play our football that we like to play. Let's see what Mr. Moore decides to choose in regards to the players on the pitch. I think
it's got to be the strongest perceived 11, hasn't it? There's no time for resting players.
No.
And I know if we get to the playoffs, it's only next week. Well, the Thursday, Friday, Sunday, Monday. So it's quite quick. Yeah. Then it's 2.5 weeks off to the final if we get there.
You've got to play.
Any chance to rest anyone?
You've got players. So if Harley Dean's fit, you've got to play him. If he's fit, you play him. And George Hurst, whoever he might be, will not see a kick of the ball. And when he does, Harley Dean will go through him, right? And that will be it. And we play Berahino and Greg's up front. Greg's has got to be on a massive high now, getting a hat-trick. So we talk about informed strikers. We've got our very own informed striker.
So it's going to be like 4-3. It's going to be like that Man City game last night.
I can't take it. I cannot take it. I'm already stressed just thinking about it. I don't want to go. I don't want to talk about it. I just don't like it. I don't like this at all.
I prefer it.
This is why we're football fans. This is what we live.
No, it's not, Ashley.
It is.
I like to go to the football, see a few of them goals, and then go home. I don't like this.
See a few of them lovely goals. Go back, get immersion on.
Stress. It's
horrible. And that's when it's the worst.
The thing is,
it's ours to fuck up, and we are Sheffield Wednesday.
The thing is, this is
1867.
This is getting into playoffs.
The one of the podcast.
I'm
the one who's buzzing for this.
Me too. But the thing is, the worst 2 games, if we win it, the next, actually 3.
Oh no, because then I'm going to be even more stressed.
I tell you what, this is what kills me here. So we've got people whinging about people gonna Hillsborough, and we've got enough fucking tickets for people to go to Hillsborough. We've got plenty, right? And then there's 2-3 games in there. To get promoted, and then there's the stress of getting through them. Then there's the stress and all. Do you remember the meltdown at trying to get tickets in 2016 at Wembley? Oh my God, there's all that shit to go through, and I've got. I'm just gonna.
You've got one mate who wants to go with you, and they've not got a season ticket, and it's like, do I wait for?
No, just get your tickets. Just get your sense sorted, for God's sake.
Well, we can't talk about it anyway, so don't.
But we're not talking about it. It's like Bruno.
So this game's stressed about Saturday's game.
Wait till we get to Wembley.
Is the tip of the iceberg,
isn't it? It's going to get so much worse.
So when we lost against Wycombe, I remember walking back to the car thinking, I really wanted us to get automatic promotion. You know that not aiming for truck, as we were talking about last week. Because I just thought, I can't fucking do 2 playoff games and a playoff final if we were to get there. And the thing is, I'm going to miss the playoff games if we get to it because I'm in Portugal cycling. So I'm going to have to either watch it in a hotel in Portugal if they've got Sky, or I'm going to have to watch it on my iPad. And I'm not actually going to be there. And it's just like I'm going to ask Carlos.
Yeah. We all know where it's on.
But it's just going to be shit because I hate the playoffs. I hate them with a passion.
They are horrible. But thinking about it now, it's not we're not 90 minutes from Premier League, are we, like we were before? We're 90 minutes from being back in shit league again. It's not. Do you know what I mean? I think before it meant it was so huge that I think the occasion got to everybody. It got to all of us stood around beforehand. It got to everyone on the pitch. It certainly got to Barry Bannon. And I think this time, you know, it's not the Premier League. That's what I'm going to say to keep myself calm.
Tell you what, I'm the same. Go on, Hollie.
Before Wycombe, I was like, this is it. We're going to get promoted in the automatic. It don't matter about the playoffs. Forget it. And then I was so disappointed. And then in that first half that first whatever it was against Fleetwood, I was like, oh no, we're not even in playoffs, it's over. And then we scored and I'm like, this is it. And now I can't think about it. It's awful. I hate football. Why do we do this? I don't want to do it.
Well, don't take this the wrong way and everything, but you sit about 8 rows in front of me on the cop to the right-hand side, and I'm not going to watch the game now. I'm going to watch you. I'm going to see your reaction.
Bit of fan cam on Hollie. You know, I used to press red button on Sky.
Yeah, we actually could do that because you could literally balance it on the sponsor boards and just watch her and her dad just sit there drinking Special Oasis with the illegal caps on the drinks.
Well, we've got a family holiday booked on the day of the playoff final that we obviously, if we get there, we won't be attending. So that's good.
It's my dad's 70th the day.
I'll be going to the playoffs,
final.
but
Dear
everyone
Lord.
else will be going on that.
Dear
Is everyone
Lord.
booked? Are we booked?
We'll be all right. I live an hour away. We're all right. We're all right.
Why would you be booking?
Because I got a refundable rate and it's £200 more now.
I was bored at work. So I just booked it.
So
Jesus Christ.
I'll blame all you. Blame all you if we.
Yeah, I'll see you all. I've got space on my settee. You can all come down here, lads. Right, listen. So it turns out, looking at my notes that we've made tonight, we're getting to the playoffs. We're smashing Portsmouth 3-0. Cameron Dorset could stay in the bin. Windass shot miles away. We had I wrote large attendance, and the reason was I was going to go on a big tirade about that Sheffield Wednesday fans are once again turning up in their thousands, and we haven't been rewarded for it. But I feel like I want to leave that in case we get knocked out the playoffs, because that's a big negative rant, and I want to stay on top of this surf of the wave. Go Ash.
I've got some sort of like any other business regarding that sort of thing. Now, like, it was pretty obvious, I think, that Sheffield Wednesday were going to sell quite a few more tickets on the last home game. I think they always do, don't they? Not just
it's a big band today.
It's always it's good. So why don't the club do something? Why don't they like? And I think that people have said on Twitter and things about reducing the shirts to half price or 25 quid, putting some stuff on for the kids in the mega store, because it's going to be decent-ish weather, not like
Fan zone.
Get fan zone, get face painting, get red and white. I just said Donoghue down there, blue and white, face paint or something, and just because
the reason, Ash, is because they don't need to. Everyone's going anyway, so why spend money? They don't give a shit.
It's the most Yorkshire fucking club, innit? We've turned Chance into Yorkshire
people
already.
Going for the first time, or maybe the thing, and they're gonna kids or whoever going to say, "Oh, it's good this. Oh, can I go to it again?" And you've got an extra. What is it? 10,000, maybe 22 average with something like that. Another 10,000. Obviously, Portsmouth fans, they're bringing 3.5. Good, fair fucks to them.
It's a long old way.
12 kids to kick off, and that's a bit my gripe for probably the day. I love it that we're selling out. We're going to get everyone's coming out of the woodwork. I don't care if you're coming out of the woodwork and come in and make a good atmosphere. But I take Hollie's point that obviously if we're not winning 2-0 by 10 minutes gone, it's going to be a bit sour. But what they should be capturing the next generation of Sheffield Wednesday fans for me. And I'm an old man, and like you say, I'm moaning about it. It's something that doesn't really affect me, but I think it would have been a good idea.
That's your white, middle-aged white man privilege to moan about things that don't affect you. That's what it is. That's why we're here.
But it doesn't affect me, but it does affect me in the long-term type thing, because it's the future that they're trying to. Grab hold
of. That's going to watch, couldn't you? That's the thing.
But I think 25 quid for a shirt. They're out of date anyway. After hopefully in about 3 weeks. So
if they did that, the club shop wouldn't cope, would it?
No,
you can't even go and get a ticket on a Tuesday afternoon. Like it would just be hell on earth.
Well, honestly,
they don't need to spend money, because why would they? They don't. Why? This is a club, Ash, that when we were in the Premier League used to make somebody spin round looking up at a broom and then try and kick a ball in a bin. at half time.
That was the Premiership then, wasn't it? It's moved
Stop
on.
saying Premiership. For God's sake, Simon. It's not been Premiership for 20 years. Stop saying Premiership.
What's going to upset you more, Ash, is the fact that they'll run out of beer and they'll run out of pies because nobody would have gone, oh, there's an extra 10,000 people coming because they run out of pies and there's 22,000 people.
Mate, I sit on the cop. They've run out before I get there, and I get there early.
So they'll have the same number of staff on that they had against Crew on Tuesday night last week.
No pints poured. No pints.
And
not allowed to. Not allowed to.
So yeah,
not allowed to.
That's what we'll get told on the cop. Not allowed to.
So what's the fucking point of having those bottom filling ones?
Oh, they don't have them anymore on North. They've gone.
Yeah, they're still in cop. They're the only good thing about it because they've got the Wednesday on. That's the only good thing.
I tell you, I had the same.
They do pre-pour pints on the North, but not very often. Sometimes they'll do 2.
I had the same gripe at Wembley, the Spurs Stadium. Actually, I was at the Spurs Stadium, and they were and they had those bottom filling pints up, and there must have been 400 people at this one stall. And all anybody ever talks about is that Spurs Stadium. It's all they've got loads of places where they could buy beer. There's loads of them, and it's like 400 all stood at this, all thinking that they're all going to get a beer, and they were making them to order. It's like, well, what's the fucking point? You know what I mean? You've got all this equipment to get yourself ready for all these time. This one moment of the day. There's 2 times you're going to get slammed. Just pour the fucking pints. And then we got a video the other day of somebody scooping it out the bloody drip tray at the same stadium I was at. Like, what the shitting Christ?
I want to be surprised. I want Ash's dream to come true. I want it to be Owls in the Park on Saturday. But they're going to get bloody Chris Turner to draw half-time draw, aren't they? That's what level we're going to be aiming at.
Probably get David Hurst.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave it there.
What shithousing that would be.
That would be top shithousing. I'd really
can
enjoy
I
that.
just quickly mention the Sheffield Wednesday Armed Forces Supporters Society, say that if you will, are doing a collection for S6 Food Bank on Saturday around the ground at different points. So please take your tins and your non-perishable food items and donate them.
Do you know where they are? Where
get
they're going to
your
be at the
bag
ground?
before you throw them at the team. That's what it is, isn't it?
No bottle tops. I believe they're going to be on the South Stand Bridge and I think in the Club Shop car park, but there'll be a few places dotted about, I think.
There we are, folks. So great moment to end on. It's a great cause, and they've been well done for doing a raffle as well to those guys for auctioning off some bits and raising some money for a great charitable cause. Don't get me started on why we have food banks in the first place, those goddamn Tory bastards. But let's move on somewhere else. In fact, you lot all live in bloody Yorkshire, and you voted in the bloody Tories. What's the matter with you? 114 years of Labour gone. My granddad will be turning his bloody grave. But anyway, that's another day on the politics podcast. I've lost it.
The all Westminster Week.
On Westminster Week. Thanks a lot for joining us. See you later.
The Wednesday Week is sponsored by Michael Constantine Wealth Management. We bet you can't find a financial advisor closer to Hillsborough Stadium.